So we are discussing about the genetic terminology. We have discussed what is genetics, what is clone, what is trait. We will discuss what are homologous chromosomes. Homologous chromosomes. Homologous chromosomes, these are a pair of chromosomes, and an organism, an individual, receives one chromosome from the mother, maternal chromosome, and one chromosome from the father, paternal chromosome. So we can say that these chromosomes exist in pairs. It would be like this. For example, this is one chromosome, this is one chromosome, this is another chromosome. These chromosomes exist in pairs. They are called as homologous chromosomes. And this one chromosome from the one parent, another chromosome from another parent. So these are called as homologous chromosomes. These homologous chromosomes have basically the same set of genes. It would be like this. What are homologous chromosomes? Homologous chromosomes are those chromosomes which have same set of genes. They are homologous chromosomes. These are genes. So we can say that homologous chromosomes or chromosomes, it is a pair of chromosomes. Pair of chromosomes having same set of genes. So we can say that what are homologous chromosomes? Homologous chromosomes are a pair of chromosomes which have same set of genes. This is one chromosome. These are homologous chromosomes. Homologous chromosomes. This one chromosome from one parent. This is chromosome from one parent. Chromosome from one parent. This is chromosome from another parent. They have got, so these homologous chromosomes, they always exist in pairs. This chromosome in an individual, if we can say that in an individual, one chromosome is obtained from father, that is paternal chromosome. One chromosome of the homologous chromosome is obtained from the mother, that is called as maternal chromosome. So we can say that this homologous chromosome, it has one chromosome from mother and one chromosome from father. Genetically, the symbol for mother female is represented by this, and father it is represented by this. So homologous chromosomes have same set of genes. So if we can say that here, for example, here we can say that gene for eye color, here would be also gene for eye color. Or we can say that in case of, for example, capital T, here would be capital T or small t. Here or it would be small r, yeah, capital R. So we can say that they have same set of genes. For same is the case here, they have same set of genes. For example, we have got Y, here can be small y or capital Y. They have same set of genes. So what are homologous chromosomes? Homologous chromosomes are those chromosomes which have same set of genes. One chromosome in a homologous chromosome is derived from father, that is, and another chromosome in a homologous chromosome that is derived from mother. So homologous chromosomes always exist in pairs. So we can say that sometimes we say that there are 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 pairs of chromosomes in humans, or sometimes we say that 46 chromosomes in humans. Actually, when we talk about 23, we say that it is 23 homologous pair of chromosomes in humans. It is 23 homologous chromosomes, homologous pair of chromosomes in humans, and one set. It is so we can say that chromosomes are in two sets. One set is obtained from father, another set of chromosome is obtained from mother. Remember that in a gamete gametes are special sex cells. Only one chromosome of the homologous pair is found. That means the gametes are always pure. That is, they have only one allele of a gene. So we can say that in a gamete only one chromosome of homologous chromosome is present. Homologous. Only in a gamete, only one chromosome of homologous pair of chromosome is present. So what are gametes? Gametes are special cells, and they have only one set of chromosomes. That is, only one chromosome of the homologous pair. Whereas in normal somatic cells, we have two sets of chromosomes, and these two sets constitute the homologous pairs. And these are homologous chromosomes. This is the gene is present at this locus. The gene is present at this locus. So two genes, two alleles occupy the same locus in the two homologous chromosomes. Two alleles occupy the same locus in two homologous chromosomes. Two alleles occupy the same locus in the homologous chromosomes. So these are what are called as homologous chromosomes. Also, these are homologous chromosomes. Can show it like this. This is, for example, capital T, small t. These are two alleles of the same gene. You can say that these are two, or we can say that alleles, two alleles of the same gene, of same gene. Two alleles of same gene. For example, we have these two alleles. This is B, or we can say that these are two alleles of different genes. This is gene, it has got two alleles. It's another gene, it has got two alleles. So these are two alleles of the same gene, but these are two alleles of different genes. These are two alleles of different genes. These are two alleles of different genes. Then we can also show it here. For example, we have CC. These are homozygous. Two alleles of gene are similar. These are called homozygous dominant alleles. are homozygous dominant alleles. Homozygous dominant alleles. For example, this is capital D and small d. These are two alleles of the same gene, but they are different. This is called as heterozygous alleles. Two alleles of the same gene, but they are different. That is called as heterozygous alleles. Now we can also show this is E. These two alleles of a gene are similar, so they are homozygous, but they are recessive. So it is called as homozygous recessive alleles. Homozygous recessive alleles. So what are the alleles? These are two alleles of the same gene. The two alleles of the same gene. This one and this, these are two alleles of different genes. Then we have got capital C. These are two homozygous dominant alleles. These are two alleles, but they are homozygous dominant. If we take capital D, small d, this is called as heterozygous alleles. Capital D and small d, this is called as heterozygous alleles. If we have small e, that means two dissimilar alleles. So it is called as this capital D and small d, these are capital D and small d, these are different. So we can say that heterozygous alleles, if they are similar, small e, that means similar, it becomes homozygous recessive alleles. So we have got homozygous recessive alleles. So if there is capital T and small t, it is two alleles of the same gene. If there is capital B, and these are two alleles of different genes, capital C, this is homozygous dominant alleles. Capital D, small d, this is heterozygous alleles. Small e, these are homozygous recessive alleles. These are called as homologous chromosomes. That means homologous chromosomes are always exist in pairs. Then we have got another one. What is gene? This term gene, it was given by Johnson. The term gene is given by Johnson. The term gene given by Johnson. Gene is simply what is gene? It is simply the unit of inheritance, or we can say that these are hereditary determinants. And these genes, they are biological. They are factors that determine the biological trait of an organism. So we can say that these are unit of inheritance. It is a unit of inheritance which passes from parents to offsprings through a gamete in a chromosome. So what is a gene? Gene is a unit of inheritance which passes from parents to offsprings through a gamete in a chromosome, and controls the biological trait in an individual, and controls the biological trait in an individual. So therefore this gene it determines the biological trait of an organism, or we can say that gene is a hereditary determinant. The simple definition is hereditary determinant. It is a hereditary determinant which determines the biological trait of an organism, and this gene, it is the factor which determines the biological trait of an organism. Actually, if we'll see that gene is a specific segment of DNA. Gene is specific segment of DNA. Segment of DNA, and this specific segment of DNA is which controls biological trait. It controls biological trait. How it controls the biological trait? It controls the biological trait by the synthesis of protein. So it could be like this. For example, we have got a DNA. This is DNA. These are nitrogen bases. This is DNA. Suppose from this to this is gene. This is DNA molecule. In that DNA molecule there is a specific segment, that is this specific segment, which controls the biological trait. So this is a gene. So what is gene? It is a specific segment of our DNA which controls the biological trait of an organism, which determines the biological trait of an organism. This term gene, it was coined by Johnson. So a gene is a unit of inheritance, or we can say that it is a hereditary determinant which determines the biological trait in an individual, or it is a unit of inheritance which passes from one generation to another, which passes from parents to offspring through a gamete in a chromosome, and controls the biological trait in an individual. This was regarding about the gene. Then we have got what is allele. Allele or simply allelomorph. These are what is allele. Yeah, allelomorph. This term is given by William Batson. What is allele or what is allelomorph? And this term is given by William Batson. How you can define the allele? Alleles are simply the two counterparts of the gene, or we can say that two forms of a gene, they constitute the allele. Two counterparts of a gene, they are called as alleles, or two forms of a gene. For example, we can say that these are two homologous chromosomes. They are homologous chromosomes. They always exist in pairs. For example, this is capital T, this is small t. This capital T and small t, these are two alleles of the same gene. Capital T and small t, these are two alleles, two forms of the same gene. Two forms of same gene. So these are called as alleles. Or we can say that we have, this is capital R, capital R. These are two forms of the same gene. These are alleles. Or we have suppose we have small y, we have small y. These are two forms of the same gene. So or these are two alleles. These are two alleles. Two alleles of a gene. Same is the case, small y small. These are two alleles of a gene. So what do you mean by allele? Alleles are two contrasting forms of a gene, or we can say that these alleles are two counterparts of a gene, or alleles are two forms of a gene. And these two alleles, the two alleles of a gene, they are present in two homologous chromosomes. That means if these are, one allele is present on one chromosome of a homologous chromosome, and another allele is present on another chromosome of the homologous chromosome pair. So we can say that in a gamete only one allele of a gene is present. So gametes are always pure. So remember that in a gamete only one allele of a gene, only one allele of a gene is present. So gametes are pure. What do you mean by the gametes are pure? Because of the fact that there is only one allele of the of a gene. Gametes have got only one chromosome of the homologous chromosome pair. Out of the two chromosomes of the homologous chromosome, only one chromosome is present in a gamete. So there would be only one allele. So we can say that gametes are always pure. Always pure. Two counterparts of a gene, or we can say that two alternative forms of a gene, they constitute what? Alleles. Or another definition, what is allele or allelomorph? Two alternative forms of a gene, two counterparts of a gene, two contrasting forms of a gene, they are called as alleles. Two alternative forms of a gene, alternative forms of a gene. These are called as alleles or allelomorph. For example, capital T and small t, these are two alleles of a gene which control the plant height. Capital R, these are two alleles of a gene which control the character or seed shape. These are two alleles of a gene which control the seed color. Same is the case, two alleles of a gene which remember that there are alleles in an individual, in an organism. Alleles are always present in pairs. That means, therefore, we can say that when an individual receives one chromosome from the mother and another chromosome from the father, obviously it receives one allele from the father and one allele from the mother. Therefore, the alleles are always present in an individual in pairs. Now, if the two alleles are same, for example, we have capital T, then it becomes homozygous, dominant alleles. If two alleles are dissimilar, for example, we have capital T, small t, then it becomes heterozygous condition, heterozygous alleles. So these are two alleles. Now we have got what is gene symbol. Then we have gene locus. Before that we have gene symbol. What do you mean by gene symbol? Gene symbol. That how these genes are represented, how these genes are designated. Actually, conventionally, the first letter of the dominant trait, the gene is represented by the first letter of the dominant trait. For example, we have, it is represented by first letter. The gene is represented by, it is designated by first letter of dominant trait. For example, we have trait tallness. So we represent gene by T, and we represent dwarfness by small t. That means the dominant trait is tall, so the first letter of the dominant trait is used to represent the gene symbol. Same is the case, we have round seeds and auriculate seeds. Round, that is the dominant trait, and auriculate is the recessive trait. So we can say that or and small r. That means the first letter, this is dominant trait, same is the case, this is dominant trait. The first letter of the dominant trait is used to designate the gene. So we have a tall, capital T, dwarfness, small t. Dominant trait is round seeds, so capital R, small r. Same is the case, we have yellow and green seeds, yellow seeds and green seeds. Yellow is the dominant trait and green is the recessive trait. So we take the first letter of the dominant trait that represents the gene, that is used to represent the gene, or it designates, conventionally it is used to represent the gene. So it is, we have got capital Y, small y. So we can say that how genes are represented. Genes are simply represented by the first letter of the dominant trait, and that first letter of the dominant trait is used to designate the gene. It is used as a gene symbol. Then we have got another, that is gene locus. Gene locus is actually the specific position on a chromosome where the gene is located, or it is the specific segment on a chromosome where gene is located, or we can say that it is a specific position, or gene locus, it is the specific position, or it is the specific location where gene is actually located. For example, specific position on a chromosome, we can say that on a chromosome where, so gene locus, it is a specific position on a chromosome where gene is actually located. We have got a chromosome. This chromosome is made up of DNA, but on this DNA there is a specific segment, there is a specific DNA, we can say that specific DNA segment, or where the gene actually resides. So what is gene locus? Specific position on the chromosome, specific location on the chromosome where the gene is located. So we have got this is, for example, this is chromosome. This is the gene locus. Yeah, this is another, this is gene locus or gene loci. This is a chromosome, and on this chromosome there is a specific position. This is specific position where gene is located, specific position where the gene is located on a chromosome, or we can say it would be like this. It would be like this. Suppose this is the gene locus where gene for eye color is located. It is the gene for eye color. Gene for eye color is located, and this is the specific position on the chromosome where the gene for hair color gene is located. Yeah, hair color gene resides here. Color gene is present. So we can say that this gene which is present at this gene locus, this is gene locus, it controls the eye color. For example, it controls the trait this is eye color trait. Same is the case, it is hair color. This is the hair color trait. For example, the hair color here is brown. Eye color here is, for example, black. So we can say that what is gene locus? Gene locus, it is the specific position or specific location on a chromosome where the gene is present. So this is a chromosome. Actually the gene is present here, it becomes a gene locus. The gene is present here, it becomes the gene locus. And we have, for example, this is a gene locus where the gene for eye color is located. So the gene, this is gene is simply a DNA segment. Gene for eye color is located here. So it becomes this gene for eye color, it controls the trait, that is eye color trait. Suppose the eye color is black, so that is, this is eye color, this eye color trait black. Same is the case, this is the gene locus. There would be some gene, for example, there is a gene for hair color, so we can say that hair color gene is present here. It controls the trait, that is hair color in humans. And this, for example, the hair color is brown. So we can say that this trait, hair color trait, it is controlled by a gene. It's controlled by a gene, what is called as hair color gene, and this gene is located at a specific position on a chromosome. That specific position is known as gene locus. And that same is the case with the eye color trait. It is controlled by a gene that is called as eye color gene, and this eye color gene is located at a specific location on a chromosome, that is called a gene locus. So gene locus is simply the specific position where the gene actually resides. What is a gene? It is a specific segment of a DNA which determines the biological trait of an organism. So this was regarding the gene locus. Then we have got phenotype and genotype. Then what is phenotype and genotype? Phenotype and genotype. Phenotype is simply it is called a show type. Show type means which is observable. Phenotype means the observable structural and functional trait of an organism, what is called as phenotype. So phenotype is simply the structural, it is observable, we can say that. It is observable. Phenotype is observable trait of an organism. The observable, what you observe, that is called as phenotype, show type. What an organism shows to you, that is called as phenotype. For example, we have this is a marker, and what is observable to you regarding this marker, it is phenotype. That means phenotype simply means it is the observable trait of an organism, or we can say that the morphological features of an organism, what is called as phenotype. This observable trait of an organism, it can be both structural feature, or it can be functional feature of an organism. So phenotype is simply the observable trait of an organism or observable feature of an organism, what is called as phenotype. For example, we have phenotype. It can be, phenotype is plant height. This is plant height. This is plant height. This is plant height, it is phenotype. Or we can say that eye color, it is phenotype. Eye color, it is phenotype. Or we can say that round seeds, it is phenotype. Round seeds, it is phenotype. Or we can say that flower color, it is phenotype. So we can say that phenotype is simply what do you mean by phenotype? It is simply called the external feature of an organism. So phenotype is simply the external feature of an organism. Phenotype is external feature of an organism. What do you mean by phenotype? Phenotype is observable trait of an organism. It can be structural feature of an organism or functional feature of an organism. Or simply in nutshell, we can say that the external character, external feature of an organism is known as phenotype. For example, we have stem height. It is the phenotype. Or we can say that the color of flower is purple, it is phenotype. We say that the seed shape is round, it is phenotype. We say that eye color is black, we say it is phenotype. So external feature of an organism is known as phenotype. Then we have genotype. What is genotype? Genotype is simply the genetic constitution of an organism, the gene complement of an of an individual, whether they are expressed or not expressed. That is called as genotype. So we can say that genetic gene complement of an organism or another definition, genetic constitution of an organism. It also becomes genetic constitution of an individual. It is a genotype. So that is what do you mean by genetic constitution? Total genes which exist in an individual, that constitutes it as genotype. So total sum total of all genes in an individual, all the sum total of all the genes which are present in an individual. For example, if I will count the number of genes which are present in me, that constitutes my genotype or genetic constitution. It would be like this. For example, homologous chromosomes. These are homologous chromosomes. So genes are present in chromosomes. Genes are present in chromosomes, and also they, for example, these are genes. So they constitute what? They constitute total genes which are present in an individual. They constitute the genotype. Yeah, genetic constitution. It is the genetic makeup. It is the genetic makeup of an organism. Sum total of all the genes which are present in an individual. They constitute what? They constitute genotype. And these genes are represented by what? DNA. These genes are represented by DNA. So how gene is represented? These are represented by DNA in an individual. So genes are present in an individual. These are present in DNA. Genes are present in, these are represented by DNA in an individual. So we can say that these chromosome, it is made up of DNA. DNA, it is having specific segments which represent genes, and genes are biological factors. They determine the traits in the living organisms. So these are regarding the what is genotype, what is phenotype. Phenotype simply means the external features of an organism, and genotype means the genetic constitution of an organism. Thanks.